day, Meticulous Moments audience. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another amazing session here at the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development, and that includes a wide array of areas. So we have a special guest with us here in the green room. His name is Sean Malone, and he has so much information to share with us today. And we have actually the same roots. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but I'm going to read his bio to you before I bring him into our live. He's a husband, a cat dad, a disc golfer, a serial entrepreneur, and a sell-by-chat expert. He has owned 8 different businesses, and his strengths come from over 2 decades of studying communication, business, and professional sales. He's closed more than $150 million in his own sales career and has personally built 3 7-figure businesses and 2 8-figure businesses with his amazing business partners and team. All the battlefield-tested methods that he uses are part of the Ascension Selling Method, which he and Chris Baden, his business partner, developed after completing more than 200,000 sales conversations combined. He and his team stay relentlessly focused on solving the revenue problem for businesses so they can experience the growth and success they deserve. Always revenue, always relevant. And with that, I'm going to bring in our special guest into our live. This week, we are meeting with Sean Malone. How are you?
Hey, Juanita, thank you so much for having me. Your introduction is absolutely fire, and it gave me the chills. It sounds so much better with your accent when you say it versus when I read it, right? So I'm grateful for that. Thank you. So what a wonderful show you have, and I'm really grateful to be here.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much. Tell the audience why I said we share similar roots.
Well, actually, I was born in South Africa as well. So 42 years ago, I'm 42. There you go. Now you know how old I am. I was born just outside of Johannesburg in a place called Sandton City. And my entire family still lives there, other than my parents, who moved to the United States when I was just 2.5, and grew up in Colorado, and ended up buying my first business that's in Las Vegas. That's where I reside now, early 2000s. And so, yeah, so I've had some roots, and yeah, my whole family, we go back pretty often to visit them. Yeah.
I'm so excited to hear that, Sean. That is absolutely amazing. And welcome. We are blessed to have you. You know, you've been in the entrepreneurial space for so long. So I thought to talk a little bit about the entrepreneurial space. And I wanted to ask you, you know, in these last 2 decades, what are some of the lessons? Because I love to connect with the audience, you know, and let them know the guest personally. What are some of the lessons that you've learned since being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, there's like countless ones that I could share with you. I think like maybe sharing a little bit of my backstory would be pretty powerful. I came out of university and I had just one single question on my mind, and my question is very simple. It was like, how do I make a lot of money? I wanted to make a boatload of money, right? And so I went to the only person that had made some money that I was aware of at the time. Was my dad. He had an import-export business. He was an entrepreneur, so I kind of like learned some of the hard work and ethic from him. And I said, Dad, how do I make a boatload of money? And he goes, well, Sean, you have 3 choices. I was like, great, I like choices. He said, first of all, are you a CEO? And I'm 21. I'm barely coming out of college, and I'm like, I don't even really know what those initials stand for or mean. So, like, right? And so he goes, okay, are you an entertainer? And I go, no, can't sing, can't dance. That's not me either. What's the third option? And he says, you better go learn sales. And I thought to myself for a second, I was like, okay, I'll go do that. And I took a job selling commodities. So that would be like things that everybody needs and nobody cares about. So for example, if you look at your house, you probably got a window. Around the window, you have like a frame, whether it be plastic or metal. And what I used to do is I would sell the metal around that window to the manufacturer, who'd put the window together and then sell the window to you for your house. So those are like the type of commodities that I would sell. And when I first started, I sucked. I was so bad. I was terrible, right? So one of the first things that I learned very quickly, and I actually learned it through coming up from like just my life, was persistence. You got to always have persistence. Like that's one of the big themes that I think a lot of people, like people always tell me, if you get knocked down, like Les Brown says, if you get knocked down, you land on your back. If you see up, you better get up, right? Like that's just the idea of persistency. And so I took that lesson, and I got into sales, and I was really, really bad at it. In fact, I was so bad. Here's how bad I was. For 6 weeks straight, every day I made 80 cold calls. So I started my job, and they gave me this book, and it was all these companies, and they're like, it was before the internet, and it's like, call these companies and go sell to them was my mission and my job. It's like, okay, great. Yes. So I started making 80 cold calls a day. I did this for 6 weeks. So that's almost 2,500 cold calls. And I never booked a single appointment, Juanita. Not one. Zero.
That's disheartening.
Right? It was terrible, right? Most people would have given up long before that. But again, I had this little bit of persistence that I learned. And so I was like, okay, cool. Then I was about to quit. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And my dad says, don't quit. He says, go to the library and read a book. Great advice. Thank you, Dad. So I go to the library and I pick up this Tom Hopkins How to Master Selling Stuff book. And I start going through it. And I'm like, oh, there's other formulas. I was pretty good at formulas in college. And so my second lesson came from that moment in my life where it's like, find the people that have already done the thing that you're trying to do and follow the process, because they wouldn't have put a book out there. They wouldn't have coached you through that. They wouldn't have done something like it unless they'd already achieved the thing. So, great. Yes. So I take this as my second lesson and I go back and I get excited because I'm like ready to apply this formula. And I get on the phone and I'm talking through this prospect and I get right to the point where I'm supposed to deliver this little line that I learned out of the book. And of course I freeze. My hair stand up on my head, my neck, and the head sweat beads start coming down. I'm like, I don't know what to say. And I've totally messed up the line. But the guy on the other end was super cool. He said, no, Sean, I know what you're doing. Come on over Tuesday at 9. Let's have a chat. And I was so excited because it was the first appointment I ever set. And you got to there's so much release of energy and it just felt really good. I got off the phone and I was jumping around my office and my boss came around the corner and he goes, did you just close a deal? And I was like, no. I just set an appointment. And he goes, get out of here. Right. And he thought it was, but it was a milestone in my career. And that moment really pivotally changed what I was doing. I realized that if I could do that consistently, which is my next lesson, consistency, right? Is you got to consistently be able to deliver a message that works every single time and be persistent about it, then you're going to win. So consistency was my next one. And I that moment really pivotally changed me to, I need to master communications and I need to be able to communicate with people specifically through the channel of high ticket sales and the lost art of prospecting, because I don't think people give that part enough credit. And so that was like my main second lesson. And then from there, the last big lesson I think I'll share, and then I'll throw it back to you here is conviction. And so there's three things, because people ask me all the time, right? I've done a lot of big things and I've had some pretty big success. And they say to me, Sean, what's the one secret that will make me amazing at sales or amazing at a business or amazing at entrepreneurship? And I say, there's not one, there's three. So number one, you got to have conviction around what you're selling. If you're not convicted, meaning you totally, fully, 100% believe it every single, all the way, if you have any objections around what you're selling, here's what to do. Pull out a piece of paper and make a list of all the reasons why you're not 100% convicted on the thing that you're selling or sharing with the world. And then either sell yourself on those things or go to somebody else in your business or company that can sell you on why you should be convicted. So get conviction, and then you got to be consistent. You always have to have some sort of a method that you can consistently get in front of new opportunities. And then the third one is persistency. People are going to say no to you. You're going to get hit in the face. That's okay. It's not your fault. Timing is a thing. Sometimes it's good for some, sometimes it's not. But just know that if you get knocked down and you're on your back and you can look up, you better get up and keep moving forward. So those would probably be the three biggest entrepreneurship lessons that I could share in a couple of minutes here that I think make some sense.
It does. It absolutely does. Having that conviction, because if you don't believe in what you're selling, how's someone else going to believe they need to buy that? The consistency and the perseverance, which I always call tenacity, because after all those cold calls, like you said, many people would have given up.
Mhm.
They would have given up right there at the breakthrough, and they just would miss it. But you decided to stick with it. You decided to go read that book, get that personal conviction, stayed consistent, and you showed that perseverance. And 20 years later, look what you've built up. So there's a big lesson in that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a really interesting journey. And I think the other thing is you also have to remember that with every journey, no matter what you're doing, there's ups and there's downs, right? So as an example, after I got pretty good at
Yes.
setting these appointments, then I would get into these conversations in somebody's office, belly to belly, where I'd have to sell a deal or close a deal. And at the time when I first started, again, I sucked.
Yeah.
So I got the appointment thing, I got going upward, and then I got in these sales conversations and I crashed because I didn't know how to actually sell. And that led me on a whole nother journey of where I went and I geeked out and I spent almost $500,000 of my own hard-earned money to learn all of the major selling systems that were on the market that were available, right? I went through about 40 of them and I dissected them all down because I'm a nerd like that. And I'm like, what are the things, if I could simplify all these 40 systems down to like a couple of steps, what works in every single one of them? So I pulled the things that were most common. I didn't create this. It's the smart people, they say stand on the shoulders of giants. Well, all these giants that I studied from, they had
Yes.
all the techniques and the magic. And I just looked across all of them and I said, what's the most common elements? And I pulled those down into the 7-step system that has paved my journey the whole way through my whole career. And so it was like the ebb and flow is the next lesson. It's like, no, in your business, you're going to go up and you're going to go down and you're going to go up and down. And again, it's okay to go up. It's okay to go down. Just know that when you're going down, you have to be hyper aware to make a few changes or tweaks to get yourself to stop from bottoming out and then start going up again. And so I learned the selling system side of the house. I had this appointment setting system, and those two little systems in my businesses and all the ones I've ever been a part of have led me to success practically every single time. It's a foundation and a framework that I can lean on, and forever I can always have a place to be in the world. And so that's why I personally believe if to sell is to serve, right? Most people shy away from sales because they feel like it's icky or not right or anything else like this. But there are people out there, if you're listening to this, know that there are people out there that need your help. They need your support.
Yes.
And if you're not communicating your message, if you're not selling to them, you're doing a disservice to your prospects.
That's it. That's the truth. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Now, we've mentioned we have the same roots. Actually, we're both 42 years old and we're both serial entrepreneurs. We live that life. And I'm sure, like you and like me, I'm sure you've also been in situations where you've had to, as an entrepreneur, make difficult decisions.
Sure.
If you had to think of one difficult decision that you've had to make, which one would that be?
Sure. So one of the when we went into the online world just about 7 years ago, and we started this business. I knew sales, right? Like that was something that I had some big success with, but I did not know marketing. And I don't claim to know marketing. I'm a student of marketing. I'm a student of sales. I'm a student of communication, but marketing and sales are kissing cousins. And so what's valuable is as we went into this online space about 7 years ago, we started learning marketing. And we saw this guy who was walking across the beach on this little video ad, and he was like, "Hey, I made all this money online." And we're like, "Great! If this little system that he has can bring eyeballs my way, again, getting people's attention and bringing them to me, that's marketing. Having a conversation to convert them, that's sales, right? Marketing and sales dance.
Yes.
Then I know I can convert these people." And it worked. And his little marketing system, I just followed the process. Again, another lesson here is if you haven't hired Juanita or you're not working with her or a project or courses or things like that, like go do that because she knows how to click the buttons. She's been doing it forever, right? Same with me.
Yeah.
So like I followed this guy's system and it brought eyeballs to me, people, and then I was able to convert them. And that exploded one of our businesses, right? To the point where we were doing millions of dollars a year. And then all of these people come back and they say, Sean and Chris, my business partner, they said, you guys need a software because what you're doing is archaic. It doesn't work. So we said, okay, fine. So now we have about 500,000 people following us around online. And then we started building this little software product. And then the software product got more and more speed, and it was like a big snowball rolling down a hill. And it started to take up so much of my time running a software company and being a business owner running this other business. I burned out. So the lesson here is like, set parameters and don't burn out. That's number one. Put the things that are most valuable to you in your life around you. But I burned out so bad to the point where I was going to a master class to learn from one of my coaches, and I almost drove off the road into a tree and killed myself. I almost did that. Like, I was just that close from doing this with the steering wheel. And I stopped the car. It was a really emotionally bad, hard time for me. And I went into this master class, and I just was completely vulnerable with all of the people in the room. And these are people that were doing way more dollars than me, like way bigger entrepreneurs. And I started sharing this journey that I'd been going on, my ups, my downs, my ups, my downs, and then like how I burned out and I'm like at rock bottom right now. And it was a really bad spot. And Russell Brunson, this was the mastermind. Remember, if you know Russell Brunson, he's one of the best marketers in the world, says to me, kill your baby. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And he says, take your software company and sell it. And now this software company was doing $10 million plus a year. Never exited a company like that before, didn't know how to do it. And he said, do this. And so one of the other lessons I learned along my journey is to be coachable. If you can be coachable, you will have success. Follow the leader. Like, the leader knows what they're doing. Just choose the right leader. That's the most important thing you can do. And so I said, okay, so Chris and I get together and we spend about a year. We ended up selling the software company, and the amount of relief that came off my shoulders, and I immediately bounced back from this like place of burnout because I had like one huge less task on my plate. And I think that also led me to another epiphany that I had, was like, if you put too many things on your plates, or you're juggling too many balls or whatever, like, it gets real heavy and it pushes you down. So like, only stay focused on maybe a handful of things that are the most important thing to move or progress your business forward each and every day. And if you stay focused on those 5 things, you'll win, and it won't feel heavy. That's another, lesson that I learned.
So that is all. I agree with you 100% on everything that you shared. Burnout is so extremely dangerous, firstly, and it can be avoided, but I think we've all been in that place, Sean. I've also been there, and it's not a good place to be. So I'm so happy that you're sharing that with the audience so that they can make sure they don't get to that place. And I agree. If you have a couple of things that you focus on, you can do those things well. And then, of course, you can start scaling again and get the right structures in place. But we've all been in that. That's the life of an entrepreneur. We all hit those, like you said, those highs and those lows. And also, I've noticed in the years that I've, since 2013, a little bit before that, that I've been in entrepreneurship while I was a pastor as well. I also got to places of burnout because it's just too much. And I noticed that in business, sometimes when we are scouting new clients, sometimes when we have these opportunities for people to merge with us or to partner with us, we have both red and green flags. There are things that you have to look out for. Now, you've been in business for 20 years. Can you list a few, even if it's 1 or 2 red flags to look out for, and maybe green flags, things that can tell you to go for it? This is a good sustainable business model, or this is a good principle to work on.
Love the question. I think it's a very valid one. So anybody that, like as Chris, my business partner of 7 years now, says, if you want to go fast, go by yourself or go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Right. And so it's like, if you're really trying to ding the universe or put a dent on the map, you got to go together. You can't do it yourself. And that's really the big lesson. And so looking at partnerships, there's lots of different things that, I can share here. The red flags. I'm more optimistic than pessimistic. So I think I'm going to start with the green flags, if that's okay first.
Yeah, you go.
So there's really only a couple of things that need to be in alignment. Number one, your values. What are your 5 top values? And what is the person you're potentially partnering with top 5 values? If those align pretty closely, you're going to have a good long-term partnership with somebody. I'm talking about family,
Exactly.
faith, business, animals, love, hobbies, whatever your values are. And there's a lot of different values that are out there. That's definitely one thing that you should always have, like in common. If you don't, it's going to be a lot of friction. You guys are going to grind. When somebody wants to take time off, the other person says, hey, you're cheating the time. It's going to be lots of friction. It's not going to work out really well. So make sure that your values align, I would say, is probably one of the more important things. And the second thing that's really valuable when you're building a partnership is to test the partnership, because you don't really truly understand somebody's moral fiber or what's the metal that they have inside of them until you get in the mud with them. What I mean
Mm-hmm.
by the mud is when you get into a hard position where both of you have to like go back to back and start swinging together to fight out of the mud. That's when you truly recognize what somebody's made out of. And when you can identify that, hey, I would
Yes.
go into battle with that guy all the time, this is going to be a wonderful
Yeah.
partnership, right? So in terms
Mm.
of red flags, people that don't want to do some sort of a trial or a test as a partnership first, that would probably be a big red flag that I'd be a little
Yeah.
bit concerned about. And then also somebody that's putting together unrealistic. I mean, like whenever you start negotiations, one of the major rules of negotiation is always ask for more than you expect to get,
Mm.
but don't be unreasonable. And if you find
Mm.
somebody coming to a party and putting a relationship together with you and they ask for a ton of stuff, but it's not unreasonable, and now you can like negotiate down some of the terms and make it match, then you're great. But if they make it so unreasonable, just be careful. They might be out to get you.
Mm.
So,
I love those. I absolutely love your answer, and I agree with you. The energies have to match, the morals, the values have to align, and giving the idea of first doing a trial run, that is impeccable advice, because sometimes everything starts off amazing. You know, they call it the honeymoon phase. It's just wonderful, and everybody's so excited. But the moment that there is something wrong or there's a problem that needs to be solved, that's when that's when people start bumping heads. That's when they start to disagree. So trial runs always good. I love the advice that you've given. And entrepreneurs, to me and you, they are leaders in society. I mean, we do a lot for the economy. We help with job creation. There's a lot of things that entrepreneurs do well out there, and that's leadership, really helping to change the economic climate of countries, really helping to bring in those leadership models and values, putting things in place so that society can run smoothly, building up the next generation. I want to ask you about a good leader. What makes a good leader an excellent leader? Because, everybody is a leader in some degree, but not everybody always gets to that place where they become an excellent leader. So, what are the things that or something that you can say you've seen good leaders going to excellent leaders through something that they did?
I try to keep things simple, right? So, like, if you're asking me what takes somebody from a good leader to an excellent leader, um,
Yes.
there's a lot of attributes that I could list here, but I think the word is action, right?
Mm.
Do as people do, not as people say, because there's a lot of fake gurus out there that will say do this, do this, do this, and they've never done it before. So
Mm.
for me, what makes an exemplary leader is somebody who can communicate very simply with like you can break down complex things into simple words so people can understand it very clearly. That paint a vision with their words, but then more so than just painting the vision, they actually do the action, do what people do. And so
Mm.
this brings me to this phrase that I always say, and you've probably heard it before. It's way easier to beg forgiveness than it is to ask permission. And so for
Mm.
me, I think a leader is somebody who's courageous and bold enough to go take the action, to test and do the thing and see if it works. When it works, you're a
Yeah.
rock star. When it doesn't, you try something else until it does. And then
Pivot.
that way people are like, oh, you
Mm.
messed up. Sorry, I messed up. I'm begging for permit, or, I'm begging for forgiveness instead of asking
Yeah.
for permission. Hey, I want to go
Yes.
try this thing. If you are asking somebody to go try something new in your world, I don't really feel like that's leadership. I feel like you're asking for guidance. And that person you're
Yes.
asking for guidance now has the power in the conversation. And so my thing is do what people do, not what they say.
Mm, I love that. I actually mentioned something very much similar in the previous interview I did today. So I agree with you. I do agree with you. And you know what's the danger out there? Is something that you mentioned the word guru. Be very careful because there are a lot of self proclaimed gurus out there. I always do research and I look at track records and I get to know the person because, with like you, I really believe communication is key. We
Mm.
go from communication to effective communication to connecting. And
Yeah.
when we can connect with that person, look at their track record, because there are many self proclaimed gurus out there, and you don't want to step into any of those situations because it's very difficult to get out of them. On the other hand, to be an entrepreneur means to be a risk taker. You have to be the pioneer. You have to believe in yourself and go. And like Sean said, if it didn't work, you pivot. You apologize, you ask for forgiveness, and you pivot, and you'll get there. I mean, after 20 years of business, tried and tested, Sean, you can attest. You know, we pivot here, we adjust the plan a little bit here and there, and at the end of the day, we do reach our goals.
Yeah, well, the first plan never works. It's the law of entrepreneurship, right? So you have this brilliant
100%.
idea, you're like, this is the plan I'm going to use to execute to get to the goal. And that's where we talk about that first lesson I learned is conviction, right? If
Yeah,
you know where you're going and you have like, hey, I'm planting my flag on the top of this hill, right? I'm convicted to get there. Here's the plan I'm going to start with. And if that plan doesn't work out, don't quit. Change the plan,
yeah.
right? Stay focused on the getting to the top of the mountain. Yeah.
Love that. You've got an incredible business. I mean, we're talking so many. You and I had such a lovely conversation. We're talking pipeline view, stage, system facilities reporting. I talked about automation. We talked about AI. Tell the audience what the business consists of so that I understand, because you also have 4 offers. There's a fifth one in the works. Tell us a bit more about
Sure.
that,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. Well, thanks. I think like explaining where it came from, like context is a little bit more valuable. So like
Yeah.
after we ended up selling this first software company that I mentioned a bit ago, we went and then asked our coaches like, hey, what should we do? And their response was, well, what are you good at? And Chris and I looked at each other and we said, we're both really good at sales. And then they turned and they said, guess what? All these online entrepreneurs that are trying to build digital marketing businesses kind of suck at sales. You should help them do that. And we said, okay, well, that's easy. And to prove the concept that our coaches had told us what we did, and this is very great advice if you're looking at doing something new, go find 30, 40, or 50 people that you would love to work with
Yeah.
and see if they actually had that problem. So we went and we spoke to about 40 different entrepreneurs in the digital marketing space, and we simply asked them this one question: do you hate to sell or do you love to sell? Very simple.
Yeah.
90% of them said, Sean, I don't want to sell. I hate to sell. Great. Now the concept is proven. And then we started our high ticket agency helping companies to hire, onboard, and train sales teams. That's what we did
Mm.
for our high ticket. And what happened was all of our clients, we picked up about 5 clients immediately just from having those conversations. We weren't trying to sell them anything. We just asked if they didn't like sales or they did. And 5 people said, we're not getting off the phone until we put an agreement together. And that's how our agency was born. And we started helping these clients hire, on board, and train sales teams. And then what happened is it fixed their revenue problem for a moment, about 4 months. And then after 4 or 5 months, they came back and they said, Chris, Sean, thank you so much for building the sales team and my ecosystem of how to like close deals all the time. But now I can't sleep at night because I have no predictable way to feed the team that you just built me. And that was the
Mm,
second layer of a problem that we didn't even think was going to be a problem. And so we had
yeah,
to pivot or change the plan that we talked about. So the plan was, well, hold on. We have this prospecting system that Sean learned 20 years ago that's worked everywhere he's ever tried it. Let's put it in their business and see what happens. Every
yeah.
single one of our clients hit a home run, like not even a
Wow.
question, like huge numbers. And
Yeah,
and I have example after example after example if you want to see them, but it's like it really worked. And so at that time, Chris and I looked at each other and were like, oh my God, like we should probably teach that because that would help more businesses. We could serve more people at the same time than just, working on 5 or 10 clients at once. And so we started this mastermind teaching that system. And it was a very high ticket. It was $25,000 mastermind, and it was a year long. And the first 3 months, we would put the system in their business. And the next 9 months was advanced sales coaching. 80% of the people the businesses that went through that program, there's dozens and dozens and dozens, had the biggest success that they'd ever had. And so after we'd done several of these sessions, we thought, oh my God, we need a new software that just teaches that one system. And that was where the birth of FlowChat came, to solve the market problem of how to consistently and predictably find your next opportunity. And so that's what FlowChat was designed to do and became. And then we said, well, how do we make it dominate across everywhere, all socials? We just started incorporating in every single social. So the software works on 9 major social platforms. What it does is allows you to go out to any platform and in one click import hundreds, if not thousands, of your perfect targeted prospects, put them into the system where you can then deploy a messaging sequence one by one at scale to each of those people and start connecting with them, turning those into conversations to close deals. And so it sits in front of any of the major other softwares out there, like the Salesforce or the Pipedrive or HubSpot or Close.io or all the other ones that are out there. There's a lot of them, and they're really good. And we're not the same. We sit on the social end. We're sales enablement. We sit before those things. We actually connect to all of them, by the way. So, and that's really what FlowChat does. It allows you to find, qualify, connect with, and then close deals at scale.
Absolutely impeccable. I see that idea of you just evolving, and that's how it works when you do research and you identify that gap. That's how your first system was born. But everything keeps changing every day, so it's only natural that system had to evolve into your new product, your new system, FlowChat. And essentially they both grew up. They both matured up until now, and that's why it's the glue between all of the other platforms that you've mentioned now. Now you've got 4 wonderful offers for products, and you're working on number 5. Tell the audience about that, because I know they are very, very interested in that.
Sure. Okay. So very simply, we have a basic membership, a growth membership, a pro membership. Those are the first 3 that I'll cover. Very simple. The basic one is the one that it's kind of like the do-it-yourself. This is the version of the person that's already using, and again, we're direct message heroes. That's where the place that we play in, right? So if you've already been using direct messages to find, qualify, connect, communicate, and then close deals with prospects in the direct messages, and you've already have messaging that's working and everything else, that's the right package for you, right? That one's $247 a month, and just month to month, go for it. If you haven't done it before and you need a little bit of advice or strategy or support, then we have our growth package. Our growth package is $497 a month. And that one comes with, obviously the messaging will help you with that. But when we have 16 live sessions every single month, of which we would help you to craft messaging, or where to find the right prospects, or how to convert a deal, or how to transition conversations so that you can consistently bring yourself new opportunity each and every day. So our growth package is, you get the software, you get some of these templates that we've already built with messaging, and you're going to get the support 4 times a week live from our team to make sure that you're doing it right. Good. Our pro package is now, so that's kind of done with you, the growth one. And then the pro package now is this one where it's kind of the done for you version. This one is currently, it's at $16.97 a month. So it's $1,700 US a month. And what this one does is we put everything together for you. And then we give you a team of 3 people that's on our team. Okay. These 3 people, here's what they do. There's one manager that oversees the other 2. And that's going to be the liaison that you would talk to. And then the first worker will go out and find all your prospects for you. $500 a month, right? Guaranteed. Wow. We'll find those people. We'll put them into your process. We'll qualify them. So that's what the first person does. The second person then will take all those qualified prospects for you and start connecting with them via DM on any social that you're a master of or you want to play on. So now we find, fill, qualify, connect, and then engage. And once we get the engagement, we just hand the conversation to you and you just close the deal. It's that simple. So that's our pro
Silver
package that we
platter.
offer.
Here you go. We do
Yep.
everything behind the scenes, all those hours, routing. Here you go. You just have to close the deal. That is absolutely phenomenal. I'm very impressed with what you guys have accomplished over these 20 years and how you really help businesses to smooth out their time allocation. I mean, that's one thing, Sean. If you are extremely busy, there is no time to waste, and this program that you have, these products that you have, really just makes our lives as entrepreneurs and business owners so much easier. It's
Mm.
just like, opening the door. Here's the person. They've already been prepared. They've already been talked to. Just close the deal. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. So kudos to you guys. Wonderful products that you have. And Sean has been so kind as to put together a special offer for the Meticulous Moments audience only until the 4th of July. Would you like to share that special offer, Sean? Thank you so much.
Sure. I'll just hit on one other thing. So, like you mentioned, we have 4 offers working on a 5th. So the 4th one is if you wanted to white label your own software and add it to
Yes.
your existing product offering and then sell it as a bundled package. So again, a little
Mm,
bit more advanced. Somebody who's been around for a little bit longer that might be wanting to bring in their own software. We can help you at Lightspeed do that because that's one of our major focuses. And then the 5th product is an actual kind of bootstrap workshop masterclass that we're going to be launching here in the next couple of months, of which we're going to walk through the whole process with everybody and do it with you, kind of a thing. So those are the other
brilliant.
ones that we've got. The
Yes.
special offer, yes. So one of the things that we found is when people get involved with us, they say, oh, it's kind of heavy to have to like learn a new system or do a new thing. And so we have this pro offer where we basically will write a custom messaging sequence for you and your messaging and your brand, head, heart, brand message, like all designed for your prospects. And
Yeah.
then we have the team that will come on and actually do that. So the special that we wanted to offer you guys is actually the Find and Fill 2-for-1 team special, where we're going to give you our pro package and everything it comes with for only $1,497 a month. So we're giving you a reduced amount that's not available anywhere online ever, other than right through Juanita's special link. And there's going to be a link right below this video somewhere where you can click, and it'll take you to a
Yes.
Google Doc so you can learn some more information. Read through the Google Doc. It's just a Google Doc, and read through it. If you see, there's testimonials on there, some other things. And again, it's a very impromptu, just here's something for Juanita because she's an amazing person and she has a really great offer and she's doing really, really great things in the world. Read through that. And if you find that that's absolutely the ringer for you, get started. As soon as you get started, make your first investment. You get a team, you get a private Slack channel, you get the whole shebang for a reduced rate that's not available anywhere else. You're going to get a new team in your business instantly. And it's basically like a bolt-on system that goes on the front end of your business that will feed your business for life. So
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that special offer for the Meticulous Moments audience. Guys, that offer is only valid until the 4th of July. So get to that link. I've shared it here in the description of our StreamYard. Before we close off, I've got 2 more questions for you. You are such an inspiration to other entrepreneurs as well. You have been doing that track record. You've been building it up and helping people, and everything you do is to uplift others. And we focus a lot on gratitude in your life. If you look back, the things that you've been through, what are you grateful for today if you look back over your journey?
sure. First would be the support mechanism around me. And again, that encompasses a lot more than just saying 1 or 2 or anything, but the people, right? So growing up was always my family, my parents and my sister, my extended family in South Africa, the support structure I had for my upbringing. I'm always grateful for that stuff. When I got off onto my own, then it was my wife. She's the one person I'm grateful for more than anything else every single day of my life, forever. Because she keeps me in line and she keeps my temperament at where it needs to be. And she's kind of a great
Yeah.
sounding board, and she just provides a tremendous amount of support that I wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. And so I'm very, very grateful for her. I would say probably the people's the thing I'm most grateful for is like my business partner. I mean, Chris is incredible. Our CTO is one of my other business partners, Bruno. He's incredible as well. The entire team that we have. So I would say people, number one, that's what I'm probably most grateful for. Experiences, Going
Yeah.
through the ups and downs, I'm also grateful for those. It's really sometimes difficult to see the silver lining through a dark spot when you're in the dark spot. But as you look back across the timeline, you say, oh, well, I learned this and this and this. And typically people learn the most important things when they're in their darkest hour. And I find that to be true in my life. And so that's one of the other things that I'm actually grateful for is the downs, because I know when you're in the downs, it could be tough. It could be, like pressure. It could be all these things, but I feel like diamonds come from pressure, right? So it's one of those things that you got to kind of keep thinking about. So I would say the people, the infrastructure, and then the ups and downs in my journey have probably been the three things that I'm most grateful for. And then of course my cats and any hobbies that I have, I'm always grateful for those things too. Yeah. So,
Cats are amazing. Cats are amazing. Beautiful answer. God bless you and your family. And I have a final question for you. What words of wisdom do you want to leave the audience with this evening?
Oh man, that's a big one. 6 words. Do the work, get the results.
Beautiful.
That's it.
That's it. Short and sweet, powerful. Sean, it's been truly a tremendous honor having you on. We'll chat soon. Thank you so much. Keep doing amazing things out there. Bless you.
Thank you, Juanita. And just by the way, guys, if you're listening to this and you haven't gotten in a deeper level of involvement with Juanita, please do so, because she is an amazing human being and she definitely helps and supports, and she's run the journey and she probably knows all the buttons that you might need to be clicking right now. So move forward with whatever opportunity you have to work with her.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you. Speak to you soon. Have a beautiful day. Bye.
Ciao for now.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're the #1 fastest growing community and tribe of some of the highest level entrepreneurs all around the country and around the world. We're in 36 states across the U.S., in 11 international countries, and over 240 plus members, growing every single day. And I'm honored, excited, and I'm glad to say that I'm proud to be the official sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast with Juanita Kapp. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited for this journey.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Ellis. I'm from the Thought-Provoking Change community. I am honored and humbled to be a sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast, brought to you by the one and only Juanita Kapp. It is such a joy and privilege to be on this journey with you, and I look forward to seeing where it takes not only Meticulous Moments, but also thought-provoking change. Looking forward to this partnership. You're a great person with a great podcast.
Hey everybody, my name is Patrick Rude. I'm the owner of Rude Financial Services, a proud sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast, hosted and directed by the beautiful, strong, and intelligent Juanita Kapp. I cannot tell you enough about what this woman has done with this podcast and the effect that she has had on me and all of the other sponsors and people that listen. Don't miss it.